Good morning, friends. Welcome to Bullish Project episode 2. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about social media and its impact. And if I sound tired, it's because I am, because I woke up early specifically to record this episode because last night I was working on it and I couldn't find the right transition between the intro and what I wanted to talk about. And to try to piece together everything, it just didn't go over the way I wanted it to. So now I'm doing it this morning because I have to work today. So I'm doing it before I work to make sure that it's uploaded for everyone who wants to watch it or listen to it. And by the way, thank you to everyone who has supported me up until this point. I actually just loaded up YouTube and we had 8 subscribers, which is pretty dope because I didn't think that I would get any. And personally, I haven't been looking at the analytics at all. Spotify, YouTube, nothing like that. I really haven't been focused on how many people are listening. I'm just focused on creating the content that is good content anyway. I want to be able to make this podcast into something that affects a lot of people in a positive way. So, and that's really my only goal. So, hopefully eventually it will get to the people that it needs to get to, and if you need to hear it, you'll hear it eventually. That is the goal. But anyway, let's get into the episode because today we're talking about social media and its impact. And I actually was scrolling through Facebook today. I don't know, Facebook, you're probably thinking, wow, Brett uses Facebook. And personally, I use Facebook a lot more than a lot of my other social media platforms, just because it's the one I started out on. So I guess I am prone to using it the most. But I tend to scroll through and I find some memes, I find some funny posts, and it makes my day more enjoyable personally. And then I scroll through some more and I see some posts that I click on, and then I read the comments, and it tends to be pretty negative sometimes. So there's like a balance I have to mess around with because I don't want to get myself sucked into a super negative mindset. But I also want to be surprised with a lot of memes when I scroll through and people share them. Kind of like a lottery. Social media is kind of like a lottery. You just scroll through until you find something that you like, and then you're done pretty much. Like, that's my form of entertainment. Some people will watch like shows on Netflix or watch TV or watch movies, YouTube, stuff like that. My form of entertainment is, like, for example, scrolling through TikTok, and just every new video is something new, which, I never really thought about the algorithm for social media, because what I see on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram is completely different based on the people I follow, for one. But even if I didn't follow anybody, I could search for things, and then that platform will recommend me posts, or recommend me, like, for example, ads based on what I've searched, which is low key kind of creepy, but I think we've all kind of low key accepted it now, I guess. Which is weird because I don't know if I ever want to accept somebody sending me ads based on what I talk about and not even what I like search for. Because even if I search for it, that's fine. Like, maybe you picked up on some data, whatever. I guess I can understand that a little more. But if I just talk about it and then I get ads for it, it's kind of creepy. But the same thing is true for the algorithm. If you are searching for things on that platform and then you watch certain videos or look at certain posts, it is going to give you more of those posts. So every single person has a different feed and how it looks. And if you guys haven't watched, I think it's called, it's not The Social Network, because that was like about Facebook a long time ago. There is a documentary on Netflix, and I can't think of the name of it because I'm not prepared to talk about it. It was just something that popped in my head. But the documentary was essentially about posts that you look at online, and when you're looking at something, like, the social media will essentially track how long you're looking at a post, and it will see like what posts you like, what posts you don't like, and it'll feed you more of that, which is definitely addictive, because if something is feeding you more of what you like, it's like, when do you know when to stop taking what that platform is giving you? Like, I've been scrolling through TikTok before, and I will see literal videos that pop up. After a while, I'll scroll to the next video and it will say, hey, you need to take a break. You've been scrolling for a while. And I'm like, holy cow. I'll look at the clock and it's like 2 hours later. I've just been scrolling through different videos. And my TikTok feed is like Call of Duty or, YouTubers. A lot of times, like, I found this dude named Speed, who is just this wild dude who basically goes through and plays like VR games or, other silly games, and he's just funny in my opinion. Like, he's a character, and it's amazing. But like, those are the types of people that I see on my feed. So I know other people, like, I've seen some people with some other things that are just completely left fields, like videos that I would never watch. And that goes to show like how crazy the algorithm is, because people will see different things based on what they want to see, because the algorithm feeds it to them. And that actually brings me to my next point, because like, this is very, very important. First of all, let me just get this out here, because what I'm about to say, I'm going to say it twice to make sure you get what I'm saying, because it is super important. But basically, what you consume is who you become, right? Some of y'all may not have heard me. What you consume is who you become. And let me tell you why that's important, because if you are consuming sad content, depressing content, listening to songs that are sad, or watching, movies that are sad, or on your phone, you're scrolling through like TikTok and you see sad video after sad video, and then the algorithm wants you to see more of that because you spend your time watching that essentially. It is like this super unhealthy cycle that you'll find yourself in, that kind of results in most people not wanting to be on social media. Like, I've seen so many people want to take breaks, want to just delete all of their profiles just in general. And I can't say I blame them. Like, if that was my feed, all it was depressing stuff all the time, or even if I just thought it wasn't contributing to my happiness, I would just want to get rid of it, like, immediately. My happiness is way too important to worry about some Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is that is bringing me down. But I will say this, I think the reason why people are down about social media is because they put too much weight on other people's opinions. And that's another bombshell. So think about that for a second. People, when they scroll through and they're looking at posts, right? They'll put their own picture up, right? It gets like 20 likes. And then they're scrolling through, and their friend, they get like 40 likes. And it's like they put themselves on a pedestal based on how many likes you get. And that's true. Like, sometimes it happens to me. I'm like, what? Because I'll think like, well, this person didn't like my post. Why? And then I remember that, like, social media is just like this platform. It's not real life. And I know the people in my life love me for who I am, and I don't have to worry about other people's opinions. And I don't. I really don't. But sometimes in the back of my mind, I'm like, why would somebody not like my post? Like, it's comedy genius, because I normally share memes, or I'll share funny stuff most of the time. And I'll even come up with my own posts to make, and I thought it was clever, and like 3 people like it, and I'm like, man. So then I'll share it again, and I'm like, you didn't get it the first time. Let me show you again, because it is comedy. And I don't really get upset by that for the most part. Like I said, the algorithms will basically send out your post to people, and not everybody even sees it, right? Because some people don't even get on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok at that given point, and it'll just kind of get sucked into the black hole of all the other posts that are out there for them to see, and it may not even reach them, right? If they're looking at their phone and they're scrolling through, they might not even see it. So that doesn't bother me at all. But I do think that most people have that issue, where they'll see somebody that is their friend or whatever, and they get more likes, and they'll feel bad about themselves for that. And I don't think likes are a good thing. I mean, I think they can be, but in general, I think they just contribute to a lot of friction within people's minds about how they view themselves. And that brings me to my next point, actually. Like, if you are viewing yourself as not good enough, then social media can definitely contribute to that mindset. And, life is really all how you see it. It's kind of a perspective thing. Like for me, I think social media is great just because I use it for the ways that it's intended for, right? Instant communication with your friends, being able to share with your friends all the good life experiences. First of all, some people get jealous or FOMO will kick in, right? Social media sometimes has people FOMOing, which is fear of missing out for those who do not know what that means. But if you see somebody who's out at a bar or they are out of town or they are just living their life, then you might kind of feel envious of them because they're out doing stuff and you're not. Or better yet, if you follow somebody on social media and you see only their posts and you know nothing else about them or you don't really hang out with them that much, you might think that their life is perfect. And that is completely untrue because people will only post the most like the best posts essentially. Like they're going to take their life and all the ups and downs, all the experiences that they have, they're going to post the best versions of themselves at all times, for the most part, with limited exceptions. So if you're looking at that and that's all you see and that's all you know of that person, you might be a little envious or you might FOMO because you think that you're missing out on a life that is, quote unquote, greener than yours, right? The grass is greener on their side, which is completely untrue. First of all, they're worried about their own problems and they may post something that makes them look happy, but you don't have to worry about whether they're happy or not because you need to focus on yourself. That's really all it comes down to. Like if you, and it's like you kind of have to be selfish with it because your happiness matters first, right? Your mental state matters first. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. And if social media is contributing to an unhappy lifestyle, then you have to get rid of it. Or better yet, you have to retrain your platforms to send you more positive stuff. I can't tell you how many times I preach this to some of my friends who are struggling. Like I'll kind of get an idea of what they expose themselves to on a day-to-day basis. Some people are like, I listen to Juice World a lot, which much love to Juice World, RIP. He is a great artist in terms of just the music, and I love the way his music sounds. But if you really look into his lyrics, it is not happy music at all. It isn't. And if people are listening to that, I feel like subconsciously they may start to think that way, or even if they want to listen to it because it makes them feel more comfortable based on the thoughts that they're having, which are sad and depressing. I think that is just a toxic match because if you're already sad, the last thing you need to do is listen to more sad stuff. Now, I will say that I'm a culprit of that sometimes because when I am sad, I want something to be sad with me so I don't feel alone. So I totally get that because if somebody is like, for example, Juice WRLD, we'll go back to that example. If that person knows what you're going through in a sense and they sing about it or they post about it on Facebook, whatever it is, then you won't feel alone. And I totally get that. It's always nice to have people that are there for you when you are going through a tough time, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you should try to look at more positive stuff and rewire your mindset, not only your mindset, but the social media that you're using, because it's only going to send you things that it thinks you like. And if that's all you look at, then you're stuck in this cycle of being sad all the time because that's all you're exposed to. And if you delete it, I mean, that might help for a while, but only when you come back is it going to start that cycle again because you're taking away the sadness that social media gave you. But as soon as you return, it's going to start feeding you the same things again, which, doesn't really change anything. So if I had to say one thing about social media, it's this: try to rewire it to where you search for more positive stuff. That's what this podcast is all about. I have an Instagram page. I have, this YouTube. I'm doing video versions of the podcast. My whole job is to try to make people more aware of what things do to them, because sometimes they're just in the cycle and they don't even know it. But not only that, just expose them to more positive thoughts, a wider perspective, and let them think for themselves at that point, because some people literally are trapped in the cycle that they don't want to be in. And it's terrible to watch. I used to be in that cycle myself, and I kind of watch and listen to some people close to me that I get the sense that they're stuck in that cycle as well. And I want to do nothing but help them. But at the end of the day, I really can't help them unless they help themselves. It kind of goes with anything in life. Unless they want to do it, they will not do it. Well, they might do it if it's like required. Like some people don't like going to their job, but they still have to work. So like whatever. Anyway, for the most part, if somebody needs to do something, they will do it. But if they don't want to do something, then as long as they don't have to, they won't. And you just want to show them that, like they should want to do it. Like for me, I want to go to the gym, but I just can't get myself to the gym. I'm trying to get over that hump personally with some of my struggles. And the gym is one of them for sure, because I don't enjoy going to the gym. So it's hard to stick to. And that's another point too. Like you have to kind of flip your mindset into the way you look at things, like the half full, half empty glass thing. If you're always seeing life as half empty, then you're always going to miss out on the good stuff. Because if the glass is still half full, then you still got some good stuff there. And some people just don't see it that way. So that is what I'm doing here on this podcast, just open people's minds to the wider perspective, because social media is not the enemy. Let's be very clear on that. Social media is not the enemy. And I don't believe it causes unhappy experiences or leads to unhappiness. I believe it just exposes it. Because when I'm scrolling through on Facebook or whatever, and I see a post, let's say I actually just saw a post recently about Kanye West because he got banned from the Grammys, which we'll leave aside the controversy of his whole situation at the moment, but just that post, right? And then I go underneath, there are a lot of people in the comments who just strictly don't know this guy, right? He's a famous dude, so they know of him, but they don't know him. And the people that are so quick to judge a man who they don't even know is astonishing. And I see it every day, right? And it's mostly celebrities, just because celebrities are putting themselves out there. But I see it every day. People want to judge and they're so quick to do that. And it's like, you don't even know the man. Yet, yeah, I feel like his actions are inexcusable. I'll give my take on it real quick. I feel like his actions are inexcusable. I feel like he does need help. And I feel like if you're doing anything other than helping the man, then you are not contributing in a good way, in my opinion. I don't think that you're doing anything good by spewing your mouth on social media. I really especially if it isn't positive, because not only is Kanye West not going to see your comment, which, it's kind of like pointless anyway, but if you're not doing something good with the words coming out of your mouth or the words that you're typing, why are you even typing them? And I've kind of learned that the people who do that are just super unhappy themselves on the inside. And I have even empathy for them because, growing up, most people would say, oh yeah, bullies are just unhappy themselves. That's why they pick on you. And it's really true, because these people, when they go through life, they want to bring people down to their level so that they can kind of step up right above them so that they can feel, I guess, happy or superior or whatever it is for a moment there. But it's temporary. So then when they slide off again, they have to bully more people to kind of maintain this fake level of happiness or whatever. And it's not sustainable, because the way they think about things is dependent on whether or not they bully people, which is crazy. It's like, it's just something I've noticed. And personally, it is something I've struggled with in terms of bullying. Like when I was growing up, I don't deal with it now. Like people can bully me now and it really doesn't bother me that much. But when I was growing up and people would say mean things to me or laugh at me, and I think they were like, making fun of me or whatever, I would kind of get hurt by that. Like, if you're in that situation, most people are going to be hurt by that. And I can't say that I wouldn't be if I was put back in that scenario, but the the atmosphere of that when you're being picked on is tough. So now that I have the other side of it, because I don't know anything about the person bullying me, especially if they're bullying me, because they wouldn't be my friend, obviously. But now, because in high school I didn't have this mindset, but now I'm kind of thinking like, well, what are they going through, right? Because sometimes you see these articles of bullies and you figure out they have a terrible home life, and it makes you kind of feel bad for them. And then on the other hand, it's like, why should I feel bad for them because they've been bullying? But like, I'm truly empathetic to those people because they don't have a good life either, right? And they're making yours terrible. So it's like this domino effect. But if the sooner you can realize that, the sooner you can just kind of like let go, right? And that's when you start to not worry about people's opinions, or you start to not worry about what people think or say of you. And it's just truly liberating because you can do whatever you want to do. I don't think 2 years ago or even a year ago that I'd be able to do this podcast in the mindset that I was in, because I only recently was able to kind of get over that hump myself. And shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk for that, because I watched a ton of him and got advice from him, and the way he thought about things was the way that I thought about things in a sense, but it was clouded by people around me, or clouded by the things that I would expose myself to in real life or online. And it's part of the reason why I felt like I never fit in, because like when somebody would talk in a conversation, if you kind of feel like you fit in, or you feel like it's natural to talk or something like that, then you'd be like comfortable in that scenario. Me, I was a shy kid because I didn't feel like I had anything to add to conversations, or I feel like I didn't have anything to add to that atmosphere. So I was never the guy that would like speak up and have like a funny joke to say or whatever, because I just wasn't like that. And I feel like it took a long time for me to kind of clear my brain and self-reflect on what I was doing with my life, to then find Gary Vaynerchuk, who kind of rewired my mindset, because it can really pull you down, and it being social media, because it is, like I said, man, it's just a cycle that you can go through that and I feel terrible for the people who are going through that right now. So if that's you, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I'm here for everybody because I went through that myself. So, but I want to wrap this video up and this podcast, if you're listening to it, with just one message, because I think that it is super important, and I'll re-hit on what I just talked about. But what you consume is who you become, right? Anything you take in is who you're bound to be if you give it enough time, right? So just think about that for me. Really think about that theme, because the more you think about it, the more you'll realize that it is 100% true. And it will be liberating when you just start to feel like, hey, I know that I can change my environment. I know that I can work hard to be happy. I know that I can go through social media and just search happy, motivation, search whatever you need to search, and scroll through for an hour, 2 hours, until that's all you see. And then that's all that you'll think about. So that's my challenge to you. If you're struggling out there, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you. But don't blame social media. Be accountable first. What can you do to change your life, instead of blaming things that didn't cause the issue, only exposed it? With that, I'll leave you guys with this episode, and I'll see you guys next week for episode 3. I'm super pumped. Peace out.